Welcome back, everyone. I'm Josiah Matsumoto.
And I'm Carl Matsumoto. And this is Motorsport.
Jared.
Hello, Jared.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, right. our guest producer. No, I'm kidding. Our on-air producer, Jared, with us as always. It's been a while since we've done this. A long time. We took a break.
Yes, we were had a lot of things going on.
Yes. Well, first of all, it was summer break, so obviously
right.
We didn't.
That was a long time.
That was a long time. Yeah.
And that was a long time. And then we've just been swamped the last several weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And haven't
really
been able
busy.
to record. Yeah. Yeah. On all fronts. Like, we moved to Chicago, obviously.
Yes. Obviously, all of our listeners know.
Well, they probably do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we moved to Chicago. Jared's been busy.
Yeah.
Just in general.
In Minneapolis. Didn't move to Chicago.
Yeah. You didn't come with us as much as we'd love for you to be here.
Yeah.
You're not here with us.
Nope.
Right. But my business partner's wedding and bachelor party were a couple weekends in a row those are busy times.
Busy times.
Good stuff, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're making moves. We're moving up in the world.
Indeed.
But we did miss 2 races.
Yeah, but we did watch them. We're not monsters. We still took time to watch the races.
We're not terrible people.
We did watch the races. They were enjoyable races.
Yeah.
Had a great time. Yeah. Yeah. We had the Dutch Grand Prix and Monza, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we missed.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, we watched them. Yeah.
But we
did not talk about them.
We're not going to talk about them.
And we're not going to talk about them.
Nope.
It's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Done is done.
Lost to time.
Go listen to a different podcast for those 2.
There might be a found footage one for one of them at some point, but who knows?
Sure.
But who knows? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we're here to talk about Singapore.
Indeed.
The Singapore Grand Prix.
Marina Bay.
Woo-woo! Oh, man. What a weekend.
What a weekend. What a race.
What a weekend. Oh, wait. First, housekeeping. Follow us on all the social medias at Motorsport Pod. Please follow us. Like our stuff. You can subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts at Motorsport Pod. Send us an email. Give us some feedback. Leave us a review. However you want to do it. Leave us a review where you listen to podcasts and rate us. But also, send us some feedback. We want to hear from you. motorsportpod@gmail.com.
Cool.
That's that?
Yeah.
Great.
That's that. Wonderful. Should we do some news?
Yeah, let's talk about some news.
All right.
Zoom zooms.
Zoom zooms. It'll be pretty brief for me. I think for Misbehaving Men, the talk of the town has been about our favorite misbehaving man, Helmut Marko.
Yes. Resident drama queen.
Resident drama queen and racist.
Yes.
Yeah. So Helmut Marko, who is
high up in Red Bull, the driver. Yeah, runs the driver.
Yeah, runs the driver program for Red Bull Racing. What was quoted saying very xenophobic and racist things about Sergio Perez, essentially saying, or quote, that he's South American, so he doesn't have the same concentration or focus level as like Max or Sebastian, which is like, ooh,
incredibly racist.
Incredibly.
It's only like the definition of racism, but that's all it is. Like,
yeah, but is it
subtle.
Racist? Yes.
Like,
only
on the surface and when you look into it.
Yeah.
Any way you want to look at it.
Any way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Definitely racist.
Bad. And then, of course, everyone asks Lewis to comment.
Yeah.
Everyone's always like, Lewis, what do you think? Lewis, what blah, 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 blah. He's like, of course you want to ask me this. Of course you want to talk to me about this.
Yep. Just me. And he's like, yeah, that's messed up, but I'm not surprised also because this is habitual in the sport. Like, this is not just him either. This is not just a Helmut Marko thing. He's not the only problematic person. Right. Like, this is normal.
Yeah. And it's terrible. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's rough. And then Red Bull just like didn't say anything about it.
Well, Christian Horner said something like, you're always learning even at 81. And it's like, oh my God, shut up, Christian.
Just
like,
let the guy go.
He
doesn't need to be
No
here
one
anymore.
who is in their 80s needs to be in any position of power.
Retire.
And there's I saw a bunch of comments on people who were criticizing Helmut Marko. And it was like, well, like your 80-year-old grandpa has never said anything racist before and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, but this is a public figure who has an immense amount of power, and he's talking about someone who he oversees and who is a subordinate to him.
Yeah. I don't think my 80-year-old grandpa should be in that position either over people color. Like, what
doesn't make that okay? That doesn't make anything okay. Like, we should require more of people.
Right. And people are like, well, Helmut Marko, we should all just know that Helmut Marko, we shouldn't listen to and should ignore him and be like, well, then why is he in a position of power in the sport? If he should be ignored, then he should just just go away and not be paid for being.
He's in a position where you have to listen to him.
Yeah.
And he makes these decisions based on his own personal feelings. Ugh. So ridiculous. Yeah. And then just nothing about it. They're like, oh yeah, everyone learns, blah blah blah. They worked it out. They talked about it behind scenes, blah 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 blah. Yeah. And I'm like, no.
I don't think they did. That's the thing.
Right?
I just don't believe it.
What they did was they pulled Checo aside and said, hey, he's a crazy old man, right? And Checo was like, sure.
Like, what is Checo gonna do?
And then Checo was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I still have a contract and they're paying me. So I'm not gonna rub anybody the wrong way. That's basically the vibe I got from Checo.
Yeah, and we're making this up and filling in the blanks, but it feels likely. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is not fact, but
I mean,
that feels
I feel like that's how every corporation deals with stuff like that offhand. Right. It's just apologizing and making excuses for the person who in power who did something wrong, and then
move on.
Person who is not in the position of power is like, well, I'm getting paid and blah blah blah, so what am I going to do?
And if I want to say anything more, my job is in jeopardy because the person who's problematic is my boss. And so if I have a problem with Helmut Marko making these comments, he fires me.
Right.
That's how that works.
Helmut Marko will fire you.
Yeah.
From the best team in the sport that we've ever seen.
Literally.
You don't want to get fired from that.
So he's in a bad position. There's nothing he can say that will benefit him at this point. And that it's so aggravating.
Yeah.
He's so not appreciated on that team. And you can see it in his driving, too. He struggles more because nobody supports him there.
Yeah, you can tell that he's stressed.
Yeah.
So, that's what I had for misbehaving men. That's pretty much
the most misbehaving.
Of all the men.
The worst. Why? Why are we dealing with him right now? There are so many people who could take that job. He does not need to be there.
No.
Yeah.
He's 81. No. Let him go home.
Let him go home.
Let him go home. Of course, he'd probably still show up everywhere and talk to everybody about everything all the time. Still.
He's always talking.
But at least he would be in a position of power.
Yeah.
So obnoxious.
the issue is that they don't really disagree that much.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They don't see enough of an issue with what he's saying.
Yeah.
Is what Red Bull is saying. So.
Meanwhile, they're having this big push, especially in 2020, to end racism.
Yeah,
and I'm like, nobody's doing anything, though, obviously.
What a joke.
And we knew it was going to be a joke, but come on. Like, you're clearly not even trying a little bit.
Yeah, the FIA gave him, like, what, a warning or something like that?
Did they even do that?
Yeah, they did something that was very performative. And not...
They
should happen, which is like you should be fired.
He should be gone. He should be gone. Ugh. Anyways. Is that it for the news?
Well, I did want to talk about romping in the paddock. Just one thing very positive is that Alex Albon's new line of merch and how his promotion with Albon Pets.
Amazing.
Incredible.
Truly incredible.
Like you're a Formula One driver and you're using like your bunnies and your cats to do promotional work
for your merchandise. It's incredible. Did you get those shoes, Jared?
No,
They're didn't. Sold out now, but
yeah, I know.
I saw them and I was like, oh, Jared needs those.
Yeah, definitely.
Really cool.
Yeah, I definitely signed up for the email for that.
Yeah.
But the first time I looked, they were sold out already. So
I'm sure.
Yeah. I was like, okay. But they look cool.
They do.
They do look cool.
Yeah. He's got some good stuff. Very exciting.
Yuki was wearing a pair this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that.
I know. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, Alex is he's just doing great.
Yeah.
He's in such a good place, like confidence wise, driving wise, obviously merchandising now.
And just like he just knows who he is and like knows how he's like, I'm not gonna like change or be your stereotypical Formula One driver in how they
No, I'm gonna use my family pets. In everything. This will be my management team. This is my marketing team, is my pets. It's hilarious. It's fantastic. More of that, please.
Yeah, seriously.
That's the type of content we need from F1.
Less Helmut Marko, more Albon Pets.
Exactly.
That's all we want.
Why don't we just give Albon that job?
Right?
Marco's job.
Right? He'd be great.
He
could keep driving too.
Yeah.
And he keeps driving. Again, we love the double jobs for the drivers.
Yes,
absolutely.
Truly.
Absolutely. And we'll get to that later too.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, that's all I had for romping in the paddock.
So. Fantastic. Let's get the heck out of my headlines then. Hey man, get the heck out of my headlines. First up, Max Verstappen in deep trouble if Lewis Hamilton loses lawsuit to Felipe Massa as Toto Wolff hatches master plan. Quote, "We are looking at it with interest." End quote.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's
too
much.
They wrote something there.
Right? It's a whole article in a headline. It's kind of straightforward. You don't need to read the article because it's there. I mean, as long as you know what's going on, because the Felipe Massa is protesting the 2008 championship,
right?
Because he should have won technically, because there was Crashgate. He was intentionally targeted by another team, and which took him out of the ended
Nelson
up making
Piquet.
him by Nelson Piquet, and ended up having him lose by 1 point in the Drivers' Championship to Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton was not part of Crashgate.
No.
At all.
Right.
He was not involved in this incident. He knew nothing about it. He was on a different team from both of the drivers that were involved in this. But apparently, Bernie Ecclestone had made a statement a while back saying, Oh yeah, we knew that happened during the season. And so Felipe was like, "Oh, well, if you knew, then that means I should have won that championship. Like, definitively, I should have won that championship." So there's a lawsuit, and he's trying to claim that championship. And then this is saying, Total Wolf is saying, we're watching that case with interest, because if that's true, and if that goes through and he wins that case, then we can challenge for the 2021 championship for Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, and also, I would argue they could challenge for another championship or two for Lewis Hamilton, because there were, I think, 2 other championships that he should have won, and everyone agrees.
Yes.
And there was like a weird thing about them or something that I can't remember. But anyways, I just thought that was interesting.
Well, yeah. And I don't think Felipe Massa has anything.
No, actually, his legal team has officially asked Lewis Hamilton to support them in the bid to overturn that championship.
Yeah. And that was going to be another, I forgot, Misbehaving Men of sure. Why would you ask Lewis Hamilton to support you in the
right? Like you're asking him to say, "Yeah, I don't need this title," even though he's had 3 titles now stolen from him, literally. So no, I think he's probably gonna keep that. I think part of it is Felipe's Brazilian, and Lewis is an honorary Brazilian.
Right.
Which is still funny.
But it's also Lewis really didn't have anything to do with this. So just leave him out of it.
But also it's just weird to insinuate that Total Wolf hatched a master plan about this when all he said was, "Yeah, we're watching that case with interest." Yeah, it's an interesting one.
The interesting thing about the title is even in the title they tell you that's all that we're getting this from.
Oh yeah.
They say that's the quote,
That's it. That's the whole quote.
Yeah.
LOL.
Yeah, it's silly. But I'm past championships I think are not up for debate. They shouldn't be, really. And while I do believe Lewis should have won 3 championships that he didn't, it is what it is, you know? The sport is the sport. And so, and that's kind of how it should be.
Has to go get another one.
Yeah,
exactly. And he's working on it.
You see him moving up in the stats after this race?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sure did see that.
Yeah, nice to see him back in 3rd place.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one. Ex-NASCAR star Danica Patrick sets F1 world on fire with just one sentence slandering Daniel Ricciardo.
Wow.
Okay, tell us what the one sentence is.
She said she's quoted as saying Daniel Ricciardo is obviously at the end of his career.
Which is I
mean, he kind of is.
Yeah.
Right? He had the shot with AlphaTauri, broke his wrist. Liam Lawson is already doing better than he was.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Daniel will come back to the seat in the next several races. Not sure. I think you might as well keep Liam in the seat. And he's doing a great job, so maybe he stays in.
Really good.
If that's the case, then Daniel Ricciardo's at the end of his career. He just is. That's a fact. I mean, well, it's an opinion.
He could get another seat somewhere, but
yeah, he could totally.
But he's also.
But when you're comparing him specifically to Liam Lawson, who took his seat, Liam Lawson is very clearly at the beginning of his career in F1, and Daniel Ricciardo has been in F1 for a significantly longer.
Yeah.
So yeah,
on the back half,
in context,
sure.
I think he is at the end of his career.
I don't think it's slander.
No.
It's certainly not slander.
And I also don't think that the F1 world is on fire with that statement. She said much more ridiculous things that we've talked about on this podcast. This is not one of those things.
There's a lot more to be upset at with her than with this quote.
Totally. Yeah.
That's what the headline was insinuating, was that it was even worse. So you got to click on the article.
Right?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, no. How about the sexist comments she's making? Yeah. So funny. So that's fun. Plus, but also Daniel has been quoted in saying that he's not even considering any other team for F1.
What do you mean?
He's only considering
Red Bull?
He's like, I'm with Red Bull now. And that's it. Anyways, I think he might be at the end of his career. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. All right. Moving on. Lewis Hamilton abandoned by Mercedes. Quote, don't deserve his loyalty.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
so
any guesses?
What was the quote?
Don't deserve his loyalty.
So Mercedes doesn't deserve Lewis's loyalty?
Yeah, that's what it's trying to say.
Okay.
That Lewis Hamilton has been abandoned by Mercedes and they don't deserve his loyalty. Because he is loyal to Mercedes.
Yes.
I think there's just like a group of people out there that are funding a campaign to try and get people to push for him to go to Ferrari.
Oh, honestly, that makes sense.
There's so much things that people talk about like that, and it's just not real. Like, I don't know.
Get it. And this is 100% one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because so this is talking about after the race, because he was on the podium. His engineers weren't in Parc Fermé celebrating with him. They're like, he was seen celebrating with Ferrari and with McLaren. I'm not sure why they weren't there. I don't know why they weren't celebrating, or if they were, that we just didn't see it. Probably.
Right, like you're talking about the camera angle.
Yeah, right. Literally.
Correct.
And then there's but people went nuts on all the social medias and were like, "There's a picture of him sitting, waiting to be interviewed, but you can't tell that that's why he's sitting there. It just looks like he's sitting sad. Alone, and then a Ferrari engineer like has his hand on his shoulder." And they're like, "Oh, this is heartbreaking. This shouldn't be happening. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "No, he's waiting to be interviewed, and he's just sitting down because he's
being congratulated by someone who he knows."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
What?
Somebody came by and said, "Hey, great race."
Marina Bay is famously an extremely physically taxing race. Yeah. Maybe he wants to have a seat.
Exactly. And when he got up to do the interview, you could tell he was so exhausted.
They were all so exhausted and sweaty and like
it was a rough
Didn't they like take extra time to get out to the podium or something?
They did.
I heard them say something like that.
The announcers were saying during that they were like, "Oh yeah, they're probably just taking a little extra rest time before they come out because they should be out already, but they're not." So funny. But yeah, that was that. So,
oh man,
a bunch of people were like, "Oh yeah, he needs to move," and then move to Ferrari because Ferrari likes him better. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, but Ferrari's a worse team.
Yeah, why would he do that?
Definitively a worse team.
No, because they won this race. So
but they're lower in the constructors. So
yes, definitely.
That doesn't mean anything. They got one race.
Ferrari's
and they're less consistent. Their strategies all over the place, and it's a mess of a team right now. I mean, not really, but yes, also there's a lot of stuff they have to work out at Ferrari. Although it was really nice to see them doing well.
Oh my god!
Right, we'll get back to that later.
And we'll get back to that. We'll get there. All right, I'm just gonna do the speed round.
Rapid fire.
Oh yeah, rapid fire headlines. Daniel Ricciardo atones for the sins of his past with utmost display of loyalty towards Red Bull. Alex Albon warned he wouldn't avoid, quote, fucking dirty, end quote, Sergio Perez's next lunch. Carlos Sainz proven right for not listening to Ferrari in Singapore while Charles Leclerc pays the price. Lewis Hamilton has answered to Red Bull's loss of performance. Haven't been developing.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right.
While George Russell was ready to risk position, Lewis Hamilton claims opposite would have been right call to beat Ferrari. Red Bull propagates Charles Leclerc Max Verstappen agenda using crafty methods and fans approve. Martin Brundle apologizes for awkward Singapore GP grid walk blunder.
Martin Brundle again.
After grabbing the podium, McLaren boss reveals the car was not suited for Singapore. AlphaTauri not attending Max Verstappen impeding hearing, quote, a sporting disappointment. Martin Brundle. Gasly. FIA's F1 penalty stance isn't black and white.
I mean, yes.
No, it's very After a lengthy spell with $40,900 watch, Lewis Hamilton unveils new $39,000 timepiece to F1 fans for IWC. Charles Leclerc predicts Ferrari and teammate Carlos Sainz fall from grace in Suzuka, with Red Bull hungry to get back on top. After facing crushing defeat, determined Max Verstappen takes his $12 million private jet to get him set to plan his resurgence. So that was, get the heck out of my headlines. All right. Should we move on to the actual race?
Yes.
The weekend?
Yes.
I want to start with biggest losers, FIA.
Yes.
Because.
Yes. Okay, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, and this is part of it. Martin Brundle saying he was a sporting disappointment that AlphaTauri didn't show up to the hearing, but I disagree. And the disappointment was the FIA didn't punish Max for 3 separate penalties in qualifying.
Yes.
When normally they give 3-place grid penalties for impeding, he impeded 2 people very blatantly, one of which, sure, you could have been like, there was traffic, he may not have had much place to go, so whatever. Maybe don't give him a penalty for that one, because he should have also gotten a penalty for impeding Yuki Tsunoda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he clearly impeded Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah.
No penalty. Right. They're like, oh, he didn't qualify well, so that's bad enough. That's what it felt like.
Right?
Well, but because it was AlphaTauri, like, they probably just were, like, called the FIA and were like, we don't want to enforce that or something.
Yeah, I do wonder if Red Bull called AlphaTauri and was like, hey, don't show up and make this easy for us. And they were like, okay.
That just sucks for Yuki.
It does. It does.
It
Yucky's
really
been
does.
Yucky's been getting the shaft for the last few weeks. It's so obnoxious. He's had a stretch of bad luck. No fault of his own.
It's just been, it's been hard to watch. I really want him to do well.
Yeah.
Like, because when there's not something weird happening right away, he's been doing so good.
Exactly. He's been doing great. And just like, to go out on the formation lap at Monza and on lap 1 here in Singapore, that's brutal. That's brutal. Car failure. Like, that's not his fault.
No.
He's not getting a chance to show what he can do. No. Lately. And he's a great driver. So I don't know if it's sabotage. Probably not. But no, it's not sabotage. Nobody wants their drivers to do bad. Except for Checo.
This is Red Bull. Remember, Red Bull owns this team.
I know. I would love for Yuki to get out of the Red Bull situation.
I really want to see him at Aston Martin. With the Honda
Red
deal.
Bull's so toxic. I'm like,
they are. It's terrible. Ugh. Aggravating. So biggest losers, FIA for sure. For sure.
Yes.
And then obviously, I think Aston Martin.
LOL.
Yeah.
The roughest race of the year for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that 29-second pit stop for
Fernando.
For Fernando.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
Just everything kept going wrong for him.
Mm-hmm. And then Lance was sore, so he didn't race.
Yeah. Did you see that?
I missed what actually happened.
Right? I wasn't sure because I was like, that was a pretty devastating crash for the car. So maybe they couldn't put it together in time. But apparently it was... there was a quote from team boss, whoever.
Mike Crack.
Yeah, I think Mike Crack was like, he's understandably still sore.
Oh, but you've raced with a broken wrist.
Yeah, right? Like, that's not anything. I know it is a brutal race, and then they have another race next week in Suzuka.
Yeah.
So it's not insane. It just was silly the way they talked about it.
Yes.
Like, there was no injury. It was just that he was...
They didn't give
sore.
any details.
Yeah. Like, he was fine. Like, medical cleared him. No serious injuries, guaranteed. But he was understandably still sore. That was the quote.
You're just asking for people to make fun of him.
Like, why are you saying it like that?
I know, right?
I don't understand. Yeah, so to see the...
Just lie to us and say he got injured.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, if that was true, I feel like he wouldn't just say that. I feel like he was trying to, like, talk in a vague way. I don't know.
Right. Intentionally try not to, like, reveal something, or I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
But it was just like, why would you say that? I don't
know. Yeah, you're not giving any credit to Lance, like, to think that he can't go through this.
Because he's sore?
Because he's sore? He can.
Yeah.
We know
We know that he can.
Yeah.
He performs better, honestly.
Yeah, but it was a joint decision by him and the team. So that makes me think he didn't want to race.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, honestly. I feel like he got up and was like, I'm pretty sore. I don't think I should race because I'll be starting from the back. I won't get points anyways. And then I got to race next week. And do you really want me to be sore for that too? And they were like, no, you're fine. Fernando's our only points person anyways. Like, he's the only part. He's the only team member that matters. So who cares what Lance does?
No. Yeah. Like, honestly, as a whole team decision, it makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
If it was minimal duress even to him, it's like,
it's like,
that's
why not?
Yeah, just sit it out.
That especially could be helpful for next week.
So, I mean, it went really rough for them. Their car was not looking good this week. And
no, exactly. They weren't.
Fernando ended up out of the points, so Aston Martin didn't score anything. Rough
weekend.
Rough weekend for Aston Martin.
Big losers.
Man, and to think we thought at the beginning of the season, we all truly thought Aston Martin, specifically Fernando Alonso, would be the first person to win a race that wasn't Red Bull this season.
That was how
no one thought it would be Ferrari.
Nobody thought it would be Ferrari. I'm so glad it was. But nobody thought that.
And we knew that they were going to be, everyone was going to catch up to them throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that it would get closer, then they wouldn't have that dominance they had, but it really turned here.
It did. It changed a lot. And Aston Martin didn't bring the upgrades that we thought they would bring.
No.
Yeah. I think it wasn't suited for the track. And I think that, I don't know, Max seemed off for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond the car, Max.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on.
Yeah.
He found his form again the next day, but their strategy risk did not play out in their favor.
Staying on the hard
really knocked him
and
out.
Then not pitting under the safety car.
Well, and I think that it was a tough call there because had they pit under the safety car, it would have wasted
their hard tire.
Their whole strategy.
Like, it was the worst time for them to for that to happen for what they were trying to do. They needed a safety car way earlier or way later, but not when it was, and which is great.
I mean,
so satisfying.
Not
to see
complaining.
Them finally make a mistake this season.
I didn't think we would have them on the loser list.
I know.
Red Bull's biggest losers.
Biggest losers.
Red Bull.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Thankfully, finally. It's very satisfying. I really didn't want to see them win every race.
No.
Yeah.
It was so boring. I was so tired of it.
I know.
Yeah. It was great to just, I feel like what I was watching is just like the races I've been watching, because Max hasn't really been involved in those races either.
Right.
True.
But he was just farther back instead of farther front, so the stakes were higher, you know?
It was great.
Right.
Like, this
Very
is how
enjoyable.
the fights for second place have been. And now it was like, okay, get Max out of the way. This is how the fights for first could be.
Exactly.
Right.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Biggest Losers Red Bull, finally.
Yeah.
Biggest Loser, George.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
He's like he was a Biggest Winner until he was the Biggest Loser.
Right. He was so up on the winners list that he fell hard.
He fell hard
because
he had one of the best races.
It was such a good race for him.
He wanted it, and he was fighting, and it was beautiful racing.
Yeah.
Until just the one thing, so aggravating and sad.
Yeah. Really sad.
It was really sad.
He was, understandably extremely upset after that.
Yeah. But
on the last lap to be, no, definitely.
Technically.
And sometimes that kind of just happens to George. He gets so intense that I feel like he kind of just makes a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you lose focus at the wrong spot for just a millisecond, you're done for.
Mm-hmm.
When you're, especially on this track, when you're pushing so hard and you're and you're working your tires so hard and you just want it so bad and you're following so close to Norris and Norris nicks the wall and then you're just barely off of him, then you're doomed. So
doomed.
And Norris got lucky because he did nick the wall in that same exact spot on right before George did.
Yes. And I think George was staying so close to him because he knew he had a shot, and he was just really everything about this race was George just putting in everything to give it his best shot, all or nothing.
I mean, watching him and Lewis just chase and just gun for Norris and Sainz.
That was amazing.
It was so satisfying.
I really enjoyed the strategy call by Mercedes there. Yeah.
That was a great strategy call to switch them to mediums.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was great.
Honestly. And then, go ahead, sorry.
Well, I don't know if we're going into winners yet.
Yeah, I was going to say winners because that's pretty much it for losers.
Mercedes winner.
Mercedes big winner for sure. Sure. Yeah. And honestly, George was having a great race. He had a great weekend. He just was looking good. And then, just barely. And thankfully, Lewis missed that crash.
I know.
And was able to hold on to that position and take third place. Still good to see Mercedes on a podium. It should have been George.
Yeah.
I was hoping for both of them to get on that podium. Yeah. There was a chance.
It would have happened if not for Sainz.
If not for Sainz's insane strategy.
He's so smart. He's so good. Okay. Yeah. So,
oh my God. Yeah.
Let's skip over Norris because he's a big winner for sure. He had a great race. But come on, Carlos Sainz.
Podium.
What?
Norris had a great race, but he was gifted a podium.
Yes, he was by Sainz. Yes.
Carlos said, "Give me your hand and let me bring you to the podium with me."
Yes.
My former teammate.
Yes. My lover.
My lover. We shall reunite for glory.
Seriously.
It was so good. It was such a brilliant race by Carlos. The whole time he maintained the perfect distance from Norris to make sure that he wouldn't get overtaken and manage those tires beautifully. And he's like, and just ignoring his team on strategy calls. He was like, don't tell me anything except for Lando's time. Just tell me his gap to me every single lap. That's all I need from you. And then they're like, hey, he's in within DRS range. You need to push. And he's like, no, I did that on purpose. Yeah.
That was incredible. To be like, I know. That's the point.
Like, yeah.
I'm going to go slower to win the race.
Like, yeah. Oh, so good. Such a different strategy. Like you were saying, like, Max is always way ahead. Like, that's the way Max wins races, is he gets out front and then he pushes as hard as he can just for fun.
To gain that,
to be that far ahead, and then he can take free pit stops and go for the fastest lap or whatever. And Carlos is like, I can't do that.
The car is going to degrade the tires too quickly. Exactly. I need to go slower, to win this.
How do I slow everybody down for the entire race and win?
And make everyone manage for like the first 40 laps of the race.
Oh, I almost forgot how boring the first part of the race was.
Right?
I know.
The announcers were they're like, we promise there will be racing. Please don't leave. Stick around.
It was wild. Yeah, because there's no passing going on. Nobody was trying. Everyone was just maintaining their gaps up until that first pit stop. And then there was some action. And then it got interesting at the end.
Yes.
Wild, though. Did not expect that.
So good at the end.
So good at the end.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was so much fun.
Here, it started at 7 a.m. So I was asleep for the first half anyway, you know? I was just waking up, so...
Yeah, it was fine.
Really, all the action came at the right time for me.
Perfect timing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Amazing. And drinking out of your Ferrari mug.
Drinking out of the Ferrari mug.
Yeah. Brought them good luck.
Hell yeah.
Oh, it was so good to see Ferrari do well. And Carlos especially. Because I feel like he's been...
Fred.
And Fred. Yes.
Fred in the interviews.
Fred, yeah.
I'm happy for Fred.
I'm happy for Fred. But it's not because of Fred that they won. It's because of Carlos.
No. Yes.
Like Carlos Sainz single-handedly took this win despite the team.
Yes.
And that is the sound clip for this episode.
Yes. Because Ferrari has just been making all the wrong choices, and Leclerc lost out a little bit because of those choices. He started P3, ended P4.
Mm-hmm.
He should have been on that podium had Ferrari made some better choices.
Mm-hmm.
But especially doing that double pit, they put Leclerc under the safety car. They put Leclerc back an extra 5 seconds, which hurt him because he had to wait for Sainz, and then there was traffic and he couldn't get in because Mercedes was coming in. And so they didn't make the right call for Charles.
No.
And Carlos made his own calls.
That's the thing, is that Charles follows orders and Carlos makes his own orders and follows his own orders.
Right. And ideally, you to win championships, you do need to be able to depend on your team like that. Like Leclerc is doing. Like, he's not wrong.
Right.
He's right. He needs to let them think about it and him work on his part of it.
But the team needs to get better.
Yeah.
But the team is just always really messing it up. And Sainz is just...
Sainz is the team.
He thinks third himself. He's like,
this is what I'm saying. The double jobs. Yeah. He's his own strategist.
He's just self-sufficient all the way around. He doesn't need a team.
He is his trackside engineer. He is the driver. And man, it just feels good because I feel like he's been fighting with the team for so long and struggling. And last year he didn't have the same control of the car as Charles did. And so this year it feels like he finally had the opportunity, but the team keeps messing up and he's just fighting with them. And so now he's like, I'm in front. I'm going to win this race any way I know how. And he did.
He's so on lately. Since the summer break, at least, maybe a little earlier. Yeah. He was just doing so well and so confident in himself and his own strategy. It's just
absolutely
really cool to see.
I love it. It's so satisfying.
It is.
And now I actually think he could fight for a world championship, maybe even before Charles.
I think next year, if Ferrari gets their shit together, those two could be fighting for a championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that would be exciting.
That would be really exciting.
That'd be really cool. And I hope they do. I hope they fix this degradation issue. I hope their car is performing the way it should.
And I hope their team gets better. They need better team strategy.
Yeah, a lot of ifs to get there.
The
drivers are just so good.
Yeah. But mostly if they can upgrade the car just enough, Carlos is going to be his own strategist, he has the confidence to do that now. And
because he knows that he can win.
Exactly. This was only his second win
in life
in Formula One.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
That doesn't feel like it because I feel like he's one of the best drivers on the grid. And I feel like he should have more wins to his name than 2.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I think part of it is Charles has most of the Ferrari wins of those 2.
Yeah.
And McLaren
and that was
wasn't
like the only
fighting
time
for wins when he was on McLaren. Yeah.
The car wasn't
Right.
possible.
Wasn't there. Yeah. So he hasn't had the shot. And now he's finally feeling comfortable enough and confident enough and that he's not the number 2 driver.
Right.
I'm not sure he's necessarily the number 1 driver because I think it will probably flip back and forth between them.
Oh, yeah.
But I love that they're both there. They're both on that level now. It's not just Charles Leclerc.
In Singapore this weekend, Sainz was the number 1 driver.
Oh,
absolutely.
Hands down. It was beautiful. Monza as well. He was the number 1 driver.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is fun.
Interesting.
That's the place you want to be the number 1 driver at Ferrari.
Yes.
Monza.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But to win the week after, it's so good. So good. Because he was looking great in Monza too.
I know, yeah. He was just like gearing up.
And obviously they couldn't take that fight to Red Bull still, but he did a great job and got the podium, and now we got that W. So good.
Beautiful.
Most interesting way. So
Were
funny.
there other winners?
I would say Liam Lawson is the winner.
Liam Lawson for sure.
Yeah,
Points.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
In AlphaTauri.
9th place, 2 points. Did you see the thing now that AlphaTauri finally has more points than drivers?
Yes. Yes, for the first time this season.
For the first time this season. They have more points than they've had drivers.
Thanks to a reserve driver who came in for Daniel Ricciardo, who was replacing Nick DeVries.
Oh my word. So Yuki has 3 points this season, and Liam Lawson now has 2 from this one race.
Man.
Yeah.
So wild.
Wild indeed. Wild indeed. And I think Yuki could have been up there too, fighting for points, but his car
didn't die in the first lap. So annoying.
So annoying.
So weird.
But yeah, go Liam Lawson. I'm excited to see him progress in the sport. Because
he clearly deserves to be in an F1 car. Like, come on.
He showed up on like some of the hardest tracks of the season and is killing it. Like, everyone agrees that Singapore might be the most difficult to race, but definitely one of the most difficult tracks to race on for drivers. And he gets points.
Yeah.
And he outperforms Red Bull
in qualifying.
Yes. Yeah.
On merit.
Like what?
I don't think in like the last several years we've seen impressive driving from Daniel Ricciardo like that.
No.
See, I would agree.
We haven't.
Like
even when he won Monza with McLaren,
it was because
Norris
they said
faster.
Team orders.
Yeah.
Yes.
They wouldn't let Norris pass.
And it was kind of a fluke from some DNFs out front, and like they were in the place and Daniel was out front, so they were like, leave him out front. Don't pass him, Lando.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason he won.
He's done some good driving. He hasn't been a terrible driver.
No.
But like he hasn't been an impressive driver like that. And people still want to think of him like that. And I'm like, I don't know.
It's not there. I mean, no, it's just not there. He doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he ever fully did.
I was going to say, I think he gets by on personality.
How many races has he won? It's like
a few.
Kind of a good chunk, you know?
I think it's 8 or something.
Yeah.
It's not like...
Yeah, I'll look it up. Yeah, 8.
Ooh.
8 wins,
Yeah.
32 podiums.
Big winner.
32 podiums is pretty impressive. But he was in a Red Bull that whole time, you know? And then as soon as Max got there, he started outperforming him.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the thing that he didn't like. He's like, I don't want to be the number 2 driver. So I'm going to look at other teams that are improving as well. And since we're not the top team and I'm not fighting for podiums all the time at Red Bull while he was there, because it was that was like 2017 when he made the move.
Yes, they were not. That was in their downtime.
Yeah, and by downtime they were like fighting for third or fourth.
Yeah. Best of the rest.
So still one of the top teams, but like fighting for best of the rest, not for number one.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
kind of like Mercedes now.
And Mercedes now, as is Mercedes.
It's
exactly.
like,
they flipped, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. That's funny. Yeah. But I just don't think. I don't think he's got it anymore. I don't think he should be talked about as someone who has the potential to win a world championship anymore.
No.
Like, are you seeing the things that I'm seeing about like people, and there's all these headlines that are like made from nothing for sure, but about like Yuki being dropped because of Liam Lawson doing well.
Yeah,
and then keeping Daniel Ricciardo next season.
I've heard that, but I've seen it both ways. I've seen it as like Daniel won't ever get back on the grid because Liam's going to take his place. I've also seen it as Yuki's out now because Daniel's for sure in, and Liam Lawson's going to take.
Yeah,
Yuki's
and that's
place.
the angle that I'm like, that just doesn't make sense to me as someone who's just been watching lately. I'm just like, Yuki is just so much better. Like it's I don't know.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed.
And Liam Lawson is so much better.
Yes. And in the two races that Daniel was racing, Yuki outperformed him. And then when Liam Lawson jumped in the car, he killed.
Yeah.
Like he did so much better than Daniel did in that same car on his first
Daniel
attempt.
Had an opportunity. No, exactly. He had this same opportunity.
Exactly. You have the same shot in the same car, and Liam Lawson's doing better.
Yeah.
And Yuki's doing better. So except for when the car fails.
Yeah.
Too bad. So I think Liam should keep the seat for the rest of the season.
I do too.
I think that's their better shot of getting more points, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a team.
Do we know what the recovery time was for
I'm
Daniel
not
Ricciardo?
sure.
I think he's supposed to miss Suzuka as well.
Okay.
And then maybe be back after that.
But it's like at that point,
right?
Just keep Liam.
Right?
Because there's not that many races left.
Yeah. And clearly Liam is hungry.
Yes.
And hungrier than Daniel.
Yeah.
Because Daniel was hungry. But
Daniel left, like, Daniel was out the first part of the season, So
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it didn't feel like he came back to prove something. He was like, all right, I'll hop in.
He's like, I'll hop in the car and I'll do what I can. Yeah.
And Liam Lawson's like, give me any car on that grid, and I will beat Max Verstappen in qualifying.
Give me the worst car. You know what? Give me the worst car on the grid.
Literally.
Yeah, actually, let's do that.
Let's go with that.
I'm Liam Lawson, okay?
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, I forgot to talk about Williams. I really wanted to see Alex doing better this race. He almost did until Checo made that bad move.
Yeah.
And he did get a 5-second penalty, but it didn't matter.
Right.
And it put Alex out of the points when he would have been in the points.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah, because that's pretty much Alex's home race too, so that's sad.
Yeah.
Not technically, because obviously it's not Thailand, but there is no Thai race. So
if you're talking about the race, he could be on the losers list. But if you're talking about shoe drops, he's on the winners list.
100%. 100%. Yes.
This week, he's a winner.
Yeah.
Alex is a winner.
Fully.
Right.
This season, Alex is a winner. He's winning the sport. He's one of the most talked about drivers on Williams.
Yeah.
It's so wild. I love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what he does, like how he moves up in this sport. And like, part of me wants to see Williams greatly improve with him over the next several years and have him fighting for a championship with Williams.
Like, to me, that seems possible because of, like, Alex is really standing out. I think people are really talking about this. And if that can bring money to Williams, Like,
Totally.
there's a lot of investors out there that are trying to get into this sport.
Like
and
Duracell.
Or like Duracell, exactly. They saw
they
Duracell was like,
put a battery on that guy.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be talking about Alex.
Yes.
And they are. We are.
Yeah, and I think that the advertising money can come in, and I think they really could put together a great car in like the next few years, you know?
Yeah, and build it around Alex, because he clearly knows what he's talking about. He's got the right feedback. He's got the experience in the sport. He's been on a top team. He's been on a bottom team. He knows what to do.
And he's just so like chill, and like he would be loyal and would be a great team player and support to Williams as a whole.
Totally.
Yeah, because he's like a good team person right now where they're at. So if they just keep making improvements, why would he? There's no reason to leave, you know?
Well,
just reciprocate.
Unless he could jump up to a top team right now.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's happening
know if that's
right now. So,
right.
Yeah, we'll see in the next few years how that team progresses. But
exciting.
It could be really exciting. I'd love to see Williams do well again.
Yeah.
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 Definitely.
Any other winners? Should we talk about driver of the day?
Oh, yeah. Driver of the day. Who was the official driver of the day? I missed
Carlos.
Oh,
Carlos.
Well,
and I think that's who I would 100%.
Say. 100%.
Yeah.
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 There's really no question.
There's no question about it. It's Carlos. I think had George.
Could have been
race,
George.
It could have been George.
He could have been in consideration. And even if he got third place,
he did great.
He had a great race, but it was Carlos. I mean, it was Carlos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he didn't just drive. He strategized and he made decisions.
Bold decisions.
And like,
wow.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, this is the weirdest thing ever, and beautiful and so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Just the most brilliant drive. I can't. Yeah. All props to Carlos. I want to see him win a championship.
Question
of the day.
Question of the day.
All right. If you have a question that you want to ask us, can be anything semi-related to F1. Send in your questions to motorsportpod@gmail.com.
Correct.
That's it. Our question today comes from fellow Matsumoto, Jason, your brother, Carl's brother.
Correct.
And that question is, which driver pair best represents you and your partner? I have an idea.
Okay. I do.
For us.
Mm-hmm. Same.
But I'm like scared that it'll be different than yours a little bit.
You have to say the same thing or you can't be married anymore.
Or divorce.
Divorce, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the stakes.
I have two options.
I also kind of have two options, but I'm leaning towards one in particular.
Well, what is it?
I'm leaning towards Ferrari.
Oh, funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't either of my options.
Funny.
Yeah.
What was your option?
Okay, so my two options were Valtteri and Lewis.
Oh, you're going back.
I'm going back because I don't think it has to be current grid.
All right. Well, that changes things. But yeah. Okay.
I wasn't thinking current grid either.
Oh, you weren't? Okay.
No.
And then my other one was Pukey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
Pierre
as a
and
podcast together.
Right? Like, I think that's fun.
Yeah.
But also, I actually think, my Valtteri and Lewis is not when they were teammates. It's actually
now.
Right now.
But who's Valtteri and who's Lewis?
Oh, I'm not sure. But the idea is that we both fully support each other.
Sure. So I approached the question differently. I went for like who's like the personality.
Who's specifically who?
Yeah, who's specifically who. So I said Ferrari because I think you're more of a Carlos. Like, I feel like you are very much like, oh, well, this isn't working, so I'll take it into my own hands kind of thing. And
true.
I am just the most beautiful man in the world. I was
going to say, you're Charlotte because you're hot.
And that's that.
and you're good at what you do. One of the best.
But I'm better at following orders.
Yes. That's okay. I kind of like that.
Right?
Yeah, that
works. Good?
How do you feel about plugs at airports?
I mean,
that's amazing.
I fully would find myself in that situation, honestly.
Right.
I would be using tweezers to get out my AirPods.
And I'm the person at the airport that is like, I have a bunch of backups of everything. Like, I travel very well. I know exactly what I'm bringing, and like, I'm prepared for any situation because I travel a lot, and I have all the variables. So I'm Carlos, and I'm like, here's another one.
Yeah.
Just like, stop looking like an idiot. That's funny. No, that's funny. Yeah, I would definitely was thinking more of just like vibe between people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I like that.
Sure.
Yeah. Emma said we were Sainz and Leclerc. But I think she was definitely thinking vibes between people.
Got it.
Current what's happening. And I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But then the way you're talking about it, I was like, well, if it's who like we are, I'm obviously trying to be Alex Albon. So what are his driver pairings? And I kind of want to just say the Red Bull one where Emma is Max when Albon was on there. But I mainly just want to say that because I know Emma does not listen to this podcast. And if she ever did, she'd be like, why the fuck would I be Max? You know?
You're one of the best. Like,
you're the best. Exactly.
He's the best driver on the grid right now. It's a
compliment.
It's a huge compliment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love that so much. That's so funny. Okay, how do I get to be Alex Albon?
It does make sense though.
I
feel like you are a lot like Alex.
Yes, definitely.
I feel connected to him.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Hang out sometime. Alex, give me a call.
I think you would be great friends. I think Alex should be a regular on the podcast.
Right?
Honestly.
Come on.
Yeah, true.
That would be so fun.
If you need a podcast, we can call you in. We figured out Zencaster now.
Right? Yeah. We can have your animals on board too. That's fine.
Yep.
We're here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could just do them and not you if you want.
Yeah, anything you want.
Hilarious. That'd be great.
Give us a call. I've got ideas.
Seriously, Alex. Send us an email at motorsportpod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Or call us. You have our numbers.
Oh, also, I wear a size 11 in U.S. sizing. I don't know what that is in European sizing. So if you want to send shoes to the podcast,
yes,
I wear a size 11.
I wear what do I wear? 10.5.
I think that sounds right.
That sounds right.
I wear a size 5.5.
Yeah, send them.
Send them over.
Send them.
We'll promote it.
Yeah.
We'll promote it. You need to get more sales, obviously, so we'll promote it.
Yeah, you're obviously struggling to move that merch, so
clearly sold out immediately.
I couldn't get any.
So good. That's so funny. I like that. Alex and
Alex and Max is PM.
It is a huge compliment.
Yes.
I know. Technically, it's a compliment.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
And I know he's not the greatest person, and Emma is the greatest person. So
right. That's a slight difference.
But if we're not, we're going on driving skill,
and like team dynamic and stuff, like the team loves Max. Max loves the team. Like
I picked my answer and then I added the depth to it. So
nice.
I stand by
it. It makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely tracks. And truly, there is no better pairing that you could pick for you two. So there you go. Because how else would you be Alex?
I know, right?
Anything else?
We got our pairs.
We got our pairs.
We did it. Yeah. That was fun. That was a good question. Thank you for that question, Jason. If you have a question, let us know at motorsportpod@gmail.com. Minnesota moment.
I don't have one.
Mine was kind of one that we've used a lot.
I know. I feel like it's like
Bad
always
driving.
But it was Charles Leclerc losing out on pit lane traffic because people just don't know how to merge properly.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it felt like. It felt like Ferrari being like, "Oh, wait. Oh, no, I can't. Oh, I can't merge right now. So I'm just going to wait."
Yeah.
Which is all
just waving them by. No, you go first.
So silly. Anyways, did you have a Minnesota moment, Jared?
No, I was also thinking that like merging thing. I forgot about that. Like shot was so like, oh yeah, these are just two people merging up the like Ferrari garage, like waiting to go.
And they're like, "Oh no, we can't." And I'm like, "Okay." and yeah, they did the right thing of holding them for a second for safety, because it probably it would have been a penalty if they released him too early. But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, unsafe release, but still.
The visual was there.
The
visual was there, indeed.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Oh, man. Fun race.
Great race.
Yeah.
Great race. Suzuka next week.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Well.
Yeah. That
exciting.
will be fun.
Hell yeah.
Great.
Cool. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. See you next time.